This episode of Death Battle Cast is sponsored by Mint Mobile and Raycon. Stay tuned for more information and some great deals you can get with them later on in the show. Hello, welcome to the Death Battle. Where's Chad and Sam? What have you done with Chad and Sam?
They're at home playing WoW Classic.
Yeah. Bastards.
Or waiting to
get in.
WoW Classic.
Right.
It's one of those
probably.
two.
Well, welcome to the Death Battle Cast. I'm Ben. I'm the voice of Wiz. Joining me to my left.
I'm Kyle. I'm a content producer, content creator for, I make backwards compatible for anybody that watches that. What's up?
Content creator, content producer. So official.
Yeah.
You're going to have to change the way the show works with Kyle on it. All right. So, Mr. over here.
Hi, I'm Nicholas Kramer, and I used to work on Death Battle.
Then
That's
we
why
kicked
I'm
him
here.
out.
Yeah.
No.
And I'm Josh. I edit Death Battle.
Including...
This upcoming episode.
Yeah, the upcoming episode, Dragonzord versus Mechagodzilla.
Yeah.
We actually got a preview to show for that in a little
Sweet.
bit. But
I'm excited for that. I was like huge into Power Rangers.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
This-
huge.
It's so fun.
I didn't get into Power Rangers at all until I had to research Power Rangers versus
Oh, yeah?
Voltron a couple years ago.
Yeah.
I got so hyped. Like
Yeah.
I was so mad at my
Yeah.
5-year-old self for not giving it a chance.
Oh, man.
Oh man, if you had seen it when you were 5, it would have been like everything. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It would have been
the
them
best.
and Ninja Turtles.
It was everything for me as a kid until my parents banned it because I punched my brother in the
Oh,
face.
see, yeah, I got whenever I would get, I got
Like I was
grounded.
5 at the
Yeah.
time, right? Or whatever it was,
Uh-huh.
6, I don't know. But yeah, we would start fighting and doing the moves from the show. My parents were like, we should probably not show our 5-year-old this.
What did you think when
Bummer.
blood came out instead of sparks?
That was awesome.
I was like, ooh, it's more real. It's like more
way more
combat.
realistic.
Yeah.
After you put in the code, I forget what it was. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, we played it in the arcade.
Oh,
Like,
nice.
we had
It was
a
on by
little
default
skate
there.
ring or whatever. Yeah, no code needed.
Yeah, nice.
But yeah, Dragonzord vs. Mechagodzilla is coming out next week. Shit. Is that done, Josh?
It's almost done.
Okay.
It's almost done.
Oh, we got to get on that.
After the show.
But we've actually got a little sneak peek of the fight for you guys.
Sweet.
And surprise, longtime viewers, this time we actually have sound effects. I know
Wait,
that's
you don't
crazy.
usually? You
What
don't
if I,
usually?
well,
Yeah.
sometimes we don't have sound effects, and occasionally we'll have fun with it. Where like
Yeah.
me and somebody else will just like add in our sound effects live.
Nice.
And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
almost always have never seen the preview before, so I'm just winging it. it's a train wreck every time. That's
awesome.
I have
I love
fun.
it.
I have fun.
All right, well, let's go ahead and show that. Just
Awesome.
jump right into it.
Ha! Nice work, Dragonzord! Let's crush this tin can!
That's really
Nice.
cool.
Nice.
That's really cool
Yeah.
looking.
Hype. So our 3D team has done a phenomenal job putting this together, and
Oh, you
working
don't
with
say.
the RT animation department in general. Like, I'm so proud of them. They did such a good job. And this is a matchup that I've wanted to do since basically the very beginning of the show, like 8 or so years ago.
Yeah.
So it's really cool finally seeing it come to fruition. Like, way back when, I wasn't sure how we would do it because that was when we were doing sprite fights like exclusively. And then Torian came on board and he did Godzilla vs. Gamera. I remember seeing that.
That's
and
when you
thinking,
had the idea,
all right,
yeah.
it's time to start thinking about Mechagodzilla versus Dragonzord, everybody.
I've been thinking about it for like 5 years.
Very in
So-
depth.
Half a decade.
Yeah, we'll get more into the behind the scenes of it next week after the episode comes out. But like there was a whole like path that I went on trying to figure out which Mechagodzilla to use, because there's 3 like major ones throughout the movies and then also a bunch of minor ones. And there were points, entire years, where I was convinced that we would use this Mechagodzilla, and then a year passed, and I was like, no, actually, we should probably use the Showa one. No, we should probably use this one. So we'll get into that.
I just imagine you in
later
a
on.
room where they're all posted up there, and you have like a coffee and like a cigarette, and you're just like, which one? Which one?
all the dots.
Yeah. It's all connected.
That's
But
pretty
how?
much what it was like,
Yeah.
frankly. Minus the cigarette, because that thing would kill me. So we'll talk more about that next week. Be sure to tune in and check that out next Monday if you are a first member, and next Wednesday on YouTube. It's going to be fucking dope. If you can't tell, I'm really hyped for this episode.
No, I'm excited for that. That's like going to be. I watch them like not everyone, but I watch them, here and there. So whenever there's a Power Rangers one on, I'm just like, I'm there. I was like, I'm ready for this.
Well, you were talking about how when you did the research and writing for Voltron,
It was
Power
so
Rangers,
fun. Like, that was the most fun I ever had researching a death battle.
I remember it was kind of sad to watch, because there was a point where you were just at your desk watching it, and then you turned to me and you were like, I wish I had watched this as a kid,
Yeah,
because
I
it
did.
would have been my jam.
Yeah.
Like, it was kind of depressing. I was like, oh no, he missed out on
Yeah.
jam.
And then like when you saw the Ginyu Force in Dragon Ball Z, that would have made so much sense.
Yeah. Come to think of it, I mean, I obviously every kid around me was into Power Rangers on the playgrounds and stuff, so I was aware of Power Rangers. I
Sure.
knew basically what it was, but I think the Ginyu Force was the first time I ever watched a Sentai anything
Right,
for
yeah.
myself, and I would have been like
Where they
11
do all the
or 12.
poses and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You were part of a school group probably that was very much about, like, if you're into Ninja Turtles, you can't be in Power Rangers.
Exactly. That's
Oh,
what it was.
wow.
Of course, this was like 1995, 1996 when I was on those playgrounds,
Sure.
so Turtles was on its way out already, and Power Rangers was as big as ever.
Yeah.
So
And then there was weird kids who liked Beetleborgs and yeah.
yeah, but we don't associate with them. No.
Those are the kids on the other side of the playground.
So I was like one of the only, if not potentially the only, like actual Turtles fan by the time I was in school. So whatever. I don't care. I don't let society define me. I find my own way.
Or you could have just been inclusive and had both groups
Everyone,
come together.
yeah.
Yeah,
my
but
school.
that, like you said though, that this was the playground where that wasn't allowed. You draw a line in the sand, you pick a side.
Wait, this would be Colorado, right?
No, this would have been Houston.
God damn it, Houston.
Wow.
Yep.
Ruining people's childhoods since 1990, whatever.
Why can't we all just live together?
Get along.
All right, well, speaking of people not getting along, let's jump into what's going on. Before we jump into talking about Star Wars and a little Spider-Man conspiracy that I have, let me tell you about our first sponsor, Raycon. Everyone needs a great pair of wireless earbuds. Of course you do. But before you go dumping hundreds of dollars on a set, I recommend checking out Raycon. Raycon provides some excellent wireless earbuds starting at about half the price of other premium brands. It was co-founded by Ray J, and plenty of celebrities like Snoop Dogg and Cardi B are already obsessed. I mean, if you want what Cardi B's wearing, I guess pick up a Raycon. Raycon was kind enough to send over a pair of E50 wireless earbuds so that we could try them for ourselves and give you our honest opinions. Unfortunately, I haven't tried them out too much myself because Sam keeps hogging them. He's been using them this whole time, and he's not here to talk about it because he's playing World of Warcraft, but he uses them all the freaking time because they're pretty legit. Every time I look over to Sam's desk, he's always got them on. And he's even using them instead of some of the like high quality, like professional, audio listening headphones, the like really expensive stuff. He's using them instead, which is crazy to me. But that's how good and comfortable and portable these earbuds are. So Raycon earbuds are both stylish and discreet with no dangling wires or stems. And of course, they don't just look great, they sound great too. Raycon offers their wireless earbuds for everyone in a range of fun colors, all sorts of colors, and at an unbeatable price. So go to buyraycon.com/cast to get 15% off your order. It's a great deal. That's buyraycon.com/cast for 15% off Raycon wireless earbuds. If you've been eyeing a pair, now is the time to get an amazing deal. One more time, buyraycon.com/cast. All right, let's talk about Spider-Man and Star Wars. So there's some weird news that we got to
Weird
talk
news.
about. Some weird news coming out of the Disney-verse out there. But before we jump into that, I want to check out a piece of art from our longtime viewer and friend of the show, John Peter Ahlstrom.
Hey,
Got a new piece of art. So let's go ahead and bring that up and check it out.
Whoa,
Yes!
nice.
Where is this Hermione who challenges me? Is Hermione's gonna kill me? All right. So do you know anything about this?
No.
Okay.
Like, so is Hermione fighting the Juggernaut?
Yeah.
This
So
is Nick's
for
dream matchup.
years, years and years and years ago, when Death Battle was like brand new,
Right.
I tried to think of just the stupidest matchup I possibly could, and for whatever reason, the Juggernaut versus Hermione Granger is what came out of my mouth.
Is it like Hermione when she's older, or like this is like
Oh, I don't
first
know.
book Hermione?
I have no idea. It doesn't really make a difference. There's no connecting thread whatsoever
Gotcha.
between those two characters, and there always is.
Except there actually is, because the
Which I didn't know
Juggernaut
about,
is
though,
powered
so-
by magic, and I believe
he is?
he deflects. He's not a mutant. He's powered by a magic stone, or a god, or something like that. And I believe he's
is
immune
news
to
to me.
magic, or at least he can deflect magic or something like that. So this might
Interesting.
actually be an interesting
Interesting.
matchup.
Yeah.
She wouldn't know what to
Wait,
do.
weird
She'd be
joke.
like,
Well,
oh
if he does-
shit.
If he deflects magic, then that makes it all the more pointless. So I don't know. Anyway,
There'd be
I-
that great moment where she's like all confident that she's just gonna like
Yeah.
destroy this like overbuff dude.
he just runs right through Avada Kedavra.
And she's like, oh fuck. yeah.
Well, then she does the Wingardium Leviosa, and he's floating.
but wouldn't
now
that
what
get
does she do?
deflected?
I don't know. I have no
Because-
idea.
What?
Yeah.
That's the thing. We'd have to
Interesting.
It was
like
just
look
something-
into this.
It's just something I pulled out of
Gotta
my
do the
butt,
research.
and I've been pushing for no reason for years and years, and so hence the fan art.
Gotcha. I
One
love
day,
it.
fan art.
one day.
I want to see that now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Thank you very much for the artwork, John. It's
Awesome.
amazing as always.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about. There's two main things I want to talk about, and they're the Star Wars stuff and the Spider-Man stuff.
Where's my Spider-Man?
Spider-Man stuff. So
Has that really only been a week? Like y'all didn't talk about it last
It's been a
week?
long.
No,
because
it-
only
it happened
been-
it was
like
like hours
Friday
after
or
the
last
news
episode.
broke.
Oh,
okay.
Right after we finished.
There you
shooting.
go.
So we
Man.
didn't actually get a chance to talk about it last week. If you watched on YouTube, that would have released afterwards. I'm sure a lot of people were wondering. That's interesting that they didn't even mention the Spider-Man stuff. But yeah, so now we can talk about it. But first, I'd like to jump into the Star Wars stuff. I don't know how invested you guys are in the new Star Wars movie, but they released not a trailer, but like a
It's special
footage?
yeah,
Special
hype
marketing
footage, special look,
material.
yeah.
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 That's essentially what it is. Yeah.
And it doesn't show a whole lot of new stuff. It just kind of reiterates that this is the end of the Skywalker saga, and that there's Empire era Star Destroyers all lined up for some reason, and that Rey's turned dark or whatever.
I like how
Possibly,
she.
maybe. Yeah.
I like
I
how-
saw a couple of theories
Wackiest
online.
lightsaber.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like how she turned on the lightsaber first and then swung it around all dangerously.
It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, what if it like nicked your foot and you're just screwed for the fight?
She's
yeah.
new.
If it was me, I would have flipped it first and then turned it on just in case.
See, here's the thing.
What's
that
the thing?
lightsaber, that's not actually a new thing to Star Wars.
Yeah, it's in
not
Clone
even the
Wars?
current canon. Like everything exists in the old legacy canon that got
Yeah.
axed, right?
Right,
But in
yeah.
the current canon, in the Star Wars Rebels series,
Oh, that's what
there's
it is,
these
yeah.
basically they're Jedi archive guards or something like that, and they have double-bladed lightsabers. And one of them, like the leader guy, has that lightsaber where it's like it flips out and then blades come out. But it's funny. In the show, he spins it like a switchblade, and it folds up, and then the blade comes out.
Which
so Rey
makes
does the backwards.
yeah.
infinitely
Yeah.
more sense.
Yeah, Rey does it
Yeah.
backwards. Or at least Rey does it backwards.
Ah, so you might have saw one of the theories.
There's a
that
lot
I
of
saw.
there's a lot
Yeah.
of theories out there. I think it actually supports a theory that I've been thinking about ever since the title was announced. But I know, like Sean was talking about, he thinks that it's a clone.
That's what I saw. Like
Who's
people,
defending-
people
A clone
think
or like an illusion of some kind?
Well, I think it's a
yeah.
dark side illusion. Empire
Okay.
Strikes Back.
Because
Right.
it'd be a little bit weird to just start throwing clones into this now. I
Right.
think.
I agree.
And isn't there some lore about like clones can't use the Force as well as like naturally born?
I don't know.
People. It's because like it was
in
which one
in
is it?
Legacy canon?
Force Unleashed. Yeah.
Well, so in Legacy canon, Palpatine did clone himself, and
okay.
Of course he did.
could. But the problem was that in order to use Force powers, it would like deteriorate his body, and so he needed to possess a child who was strong in the Force. And so he tried to possess Luke and Leia's son, Anakin Solo.
Luke and Leia's son.
I have.
Or sorry, Han and Leia's son. Shit.
It's about to get really weird up in this expanded universe. Yeah.
But he tried to possess him, and then Han shot him in the face, and he died.
Really?
That's how Palpatine dies in the old books.
That's awesome, though.
That's great.
So I haven't looked into any of these theories because I don't really care all that much anymore. I don't know. Episode 8 kind of sucked the wind out of the sails for me. We'll see. I'll see episode 9, but the clone thing is one of the theories out there that you were saying that Rey with the evil one is a clone, just for clarity, because the only thing I can think of that might give any credibility to that is in episode 8 when Kylo Ren says that she's not special, whatever. Yeah. So is that where that's coming from? Implying, not implying, but
there's a throwaway line in Force Awakens where it is reiterated that clones still exist in this universe somewhere. Of most of the stormtroopers or some stormtrooper platoons are clones, and some of them aren't, which is weird to me.
When was that said?
At the very beginning of Force Awakens, when Finn and Poe break out, Hux is talking to someone, I can't remember who, and they're like, if you had just used clones, to Phasma, and there's like, if you had just used a clone platoon, this wouldn't have happened, and they're like, this has never happened to us before, blah, 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 normal people are better than clones. It's like a throwaway thing, and then they just move on. Okay. I don't really know why it was even included in the movie.
For lore,
I guess.
Yeah. But there is also that vision in The Last Jedi where Rey sees herself over and over again.
Yeah.
See, that would be interesting if it was a clone, because one of the theories I was reading was that not just the dark Rey, but the actual Rey we're following, she's also a clone.
Yeah.
Like, it's a series of clones, and like I guess maybe only a few are successful. And like maybe the dark one is supposed to be the one that Palpatine's trying to like possess or something.
and then
I just don't
a
like
good
the
one they
idea.
just put on a desert planet.
Well, like maybe somebody like found out and stole it, and then it's like, oh, we need to hide this.
Or
Yeah.
it's that Jet Li movie, The One.
Ah,
It's Trojan
I
Horse
like
into
it.
Star Wars.
It just
There we
becomes
go. Rey
has
the
to
That
one
would, that
hill.
would be interesting. where
the
it's like
other
the
Reys
Force-
to get
yeah.
stronger.
The Force power is split amongst the clones. Yeah,
Just swish pan over to Jet Li who claps two motorcycles together.
there we go.
I just don't really like the clone thing, mainly because
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
we got bombarded with clones in the prequels, and the clones just weren't used very well. They were just disposable people.
Yeah.
Like, clones in Star Wars are disposable people. That's what we have been told. So, I mean, maybe they could have a story that's about that, and that could be interesting, but I just don't feel like it fits with the themes that the last two movies have been trying to iterate, which is the past is overbearing to these new people, and they're trying to kind of like either live up to the past or create their own names for themselves. Like, Force
Step
Awakens
out of the shadow of the
was
past,
all about how
yeah.
Kylo Ren is not Darth Vader. Last Jedi was about a lot, but one of the strongest aspects of it was about how Rey is not Luke, and Finn and Poe are not Han Solo. Like that, those were the strongest aspects of those movies. So it'd be weird if it's just suddenly like, oh, also they're clones.
Like,
it would be strange.
that might be a little too much. It would like tip the boat over.
Yeah.
so to
I
speak.
feel like it
Tough
goes
to
against the
introduce
whole
that
idea,
in the
and
last
also
movie,
having
yeah.
Rey be from nothing, where Kylo Ren is from everything. It has this huge legacy where he's a Skywalker, he's a Solo, he's everything, or he had everything, and he let it go. Whereas
What
Rey
if
had
Kylo
nothing.
Ren is the clone and Rey is the actual child and was stolen away? Yeah,
I don't think
swap.
they're gonna give Rey some secret origin where she's actually Luke's daughter,
I hope
or
not.
actually a Palpatine or anything like
I
that.
really hope not.
I do think.
Then why is it Rise of Skywalker?
Well, that's the thing.
Kylo,
So
right?
the prevailing theory right now is that Skywalker is actually going to be the name of the new Jedi Order. They're going to be Skywalkers.
Ah, interesting.
I'm not sure if this is actually true because
Is
it's
the
not
plural
called
of
Rise
Skywalker
of Skywalkers. Right. It's not
Is
a
it like
plural thing.
deer or
and
sheep?
also,
Yeah.
so Star Wars titles are usually very literal and oftentimes talk about a person. There are only a couple that don't specify a person.
Right.
Two of the original trilogies are literally just Star Wars, Luke, A New Hope. Star Wars Empire Strikes Back is Darth Vader. Star Wars Return of the Jedi. It's literally just Luke again in the title. So, heck, Luke is the last Jedi. He's got 3 titles that are just him.
Yeah.
Important character.
So I'm kind of leaning toward, and this is a theory that came about with Force Awakens when Rey touches the lightsaber and has this vision. Mm-hmm. I'm leaning towards the idea that she's a reincarnation of Anakin. And that they're actually going to turn this into, because, okay, for one thing, the quote on the bottom, fuck it. J.J. Abrams did say that while working on 9, he basically just said, fuck it, I'm going to make this. He literally said, fuck it, I'm going to make this whatever I think it should be. I'm no longer going to be beholden to the old films, which is really appropriate, I think, because the last 2 films are beholden to the old films. And so, and the characters have been beholden to the old films. So having both the films and the characters and the makers of the films break out of that is like really poetic, like strangely kind of beautiful.
Yeah.
Like I like that a lot. And it kind of renews my hope in this movie. But they also got to set up more Star Wars movies. They got to set it up.
Or at least more series for that Disney
More
Plus.
for the canon.
Mandalorian.
It makes a lot of sense to me to be like, this whole like chosen one thing and how there's always one really powerful Jedi out there who might be like either dark or light and they're the balance of the Force. What if it's just Avatar? Like, what if it's just Avatar and there's a Skywalker in every single iteration, but it's no longer a family, it's a Skywalker, and they are called the Skywalker now.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could be.
Interesting.
I probably am 100% wrong, but I can see this being a thing. Like because, so this has never been actually confirmed. It's been kind of hinted at, but it's never been confirmed that Palpatine and his master created Anakin in the first place by trying to manipulate the Force to create a super powerful being.
Right.
And then the theory goes that they failed. And the Force actually counteracted and created a being that would eventually destroy the Sith and bring balance to the Force. Or whatever.
Remember when Star Wars was just, let's go on an adventure and beat up a bad guy?
Yeah.
I mean,
Some of us have laser swords, some of us don't. Yeah.
it still
Maybe
kind
you
of
can shoot
is.
lightning.
But
Yeah,
like,
but
they
there's-
have said that this movie is supposed to be the end of the Jedi and the Sith battle. So what I'm thinking is happening, and why they're going to the Death Star ruins, is they've reintroduced in Last Jedi the Dark Force epicenters. In Empire Strikes Back, there was a cave on Dagobah that was strong in the dark side of the Force. It's never really explained why. And then on
Why Yoda was
Luke's
hanging out there.
island planet,
Yeah,
wherever
there's
he
like
is,
another
there's
spot.
another one, and it's a little, and they're always little caves that go into weird environments that have
dark
weird
side likes
illusions.
darkness, and yeah.
But there's like dark force epicenters, and so what I'm thinking is going to be at least implied is that those are spots where the Jedi or the Sith have battled and a Sith has fallen, or essentially a Sith has died there. And so they're going to go back to Endor because something is happening there. I don't know what, but essentially Palpatine.
Wait, who the fuck would die in a
Palpatine's-
tree?
Well, Palpatine died there.
Oh, in
Palpatine died at Endor. In the sky.
Well,
in the
yeah.
granted, but
no, but I was thinking
yeah.
of where Dagobah, like he goes into the tree.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Who,
It's like-
who knows who
yeah,
died there?
Yeah.
But like maybe they also kind of have to introduce Old Republic because they want to do
yeah.
movies with that. So they'll probably have like flashbacks or whatever to like back in ancient times there was a battle over Dagobah and Darth Bane or somebody who's really powerful.
Yeah.
Darth
died
Evil.
there. Darth Bane is actually
That'd be a weird way to get it.
it.
What is it? What's his face from the Old Republic? Revan? Is that
Revan,
I didn't
yes.
consider
yeah.
from
that.
Darth Revan. Somebody died at Dagobah
He
and
fucking
created
stubbed
this
his toe and got septic and he just died in this tree. Yeah.
So I would not be surprised if they go there and essentially the like remnants of the Force, because like maybe Jedi become Force ghosts and Sith become Force holes, Force holes,
Force puddles. Yeah.
But they're gonna
yeah.
go there and Palpatine's essence is gonna be there and they're gonna have to deal with that. I don't know. Maybe Kylo Ren is trying to use it for something.
They're gonna like
Who
scoop
knows?
it up in a bottle like an Ocarina of Time.
But when they go
He
there,
holds it up in the air.
when they go there,
Drink it.
Palpatine is going to
God.
reveal to Rey who she is. That's what's going to happen, or at least I think that's when it's going to introduce this Avatar thing.
Ooh, you think there's going to be a moment where somebody's about to get killed and he just comes up and he's like, do it. But he's like this little puddle, this little like murky puddle thing. Do
His
it.
face is
Yeah.
just in the puddle.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the movie, you know, they do all this crazy shit. Who knows what happens in the movie?
Time travel.
But at the end of it, Rey dies. I'm thinking Rey dies, and then hard cut to a desert planet.
It's always a desert
There's
planet.
A desert planet, and there's a couple who've just had a newborn child, and they walk out onto the sand, and then they look up, and it's night, and there are 2 moons in the sky. Hard cut. End of series.
Or
Ooh.
the baby turns to the camera and winks.
Yeah, I like that.
And then Looney Tunes iris effect.
And then it uses the
Yeah.
Force to pull something to it.
I wonder if
What was it, the kid with the broom at the end of?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just
At the last,
symbolism.
yeah, that the
Ryan
Force
Johnson
is
really wanted to
around,
make
yeah.
a very special Star Wars movie and not really a chapter. That's kind of the problem with Last Jedi is it's not really a chapter. It's a special contained Star Wars movie that tries to basically tell what he wants people to think of Star Wars. Mm-hmm. Like that's kind of what that movie is.
I do like the ideas that he was introducing, where it's like, don't be good or evil. It's like, I guess Kylo Ren was kind of exploring that. It's like more of a neutral.
yeah.
Yeah.
I really
know if
liked
the-
The Last Jedi, and that's kind of what I really loved about it. Like
Yeah.
adding gray to the light side and the dark side.
Yeah, because they explored it in it's Ahsoka in is it Clone Wars? She becomes more of a gray Jedi, which is just like
Yeah,
neutral.
because the
Force
Jedi
user. Yeah.
fuck her over.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
they abandon her whenever the Empire or not
Yeah.
the Republic turns on her. The Jedi are just like, yeah, you
Whatever.
can have her.
Yeah.
And then when she's cleared, her name is cleared. She comes like Mace Windu comes up to her and is like, "Oh, that's interesting. Well, this was actually your Jedi trial all along. Surprise!"
Lol.
And obviously,
take a
she-
seat, Ahsoka. Yeah.
You want to come back to the Jedi? And she's like, "Fuck you!"
Yeah.
no.
and she leaves.
yeah.
Like,
Oh, man,
which
there's-
is interesting,
yeah.
and I wish they had done that in the prequels. I feel like that's what George Lucas was trying to do. It really just
Just
didn't.
trying to do a lot of stuff.
Yeah, so I wonder if they'll explore that idea more in this coming one. Like, if you saying like maybe Rey dies at the end, maybe that leaves Kylo Ren just as a neutral, where he's like,
Yeah.
finding his own way there. Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't really. I don't really like the idea that the Skywalkers will replace the Jedi, because kind of the whole point of the ending of Return of the Jedi is Luke redefining what a Jedi is. Like the Jedi the whole time in Return of the Jedi have been telling him, "Hey, in order to be a Jedi, you got to kill your dad. Go murder
Yeah,
your dad."
yeah.
Like that was his trial, his Jedi trial in Return of the Jedi, and he refuses, but he still calls himself a Jedi. And he literally throws away his lightsaber, which is why I don't think we should ever see Luke use a lightsaber ever again. And why he didn't technically use a lightsaber in Last Jedi. I think that was smart.
Yeah.
So we have redefined what a Jedi is, and Luke has obviously been struggling with that. It's part of the
While
reason
drinking
why
that,
in
like,
Last
green
Jedi it's
milk.
kind of
Yeah.
weird that he's so against the Jedi, when I feel like that could have been done a little better, although it was definitely the most interesting part of the movie. But like erasing the Jedi from history, I don't think would go over very well.
Right. Yeah.
I think they need to keep that name. I think they need to keep the whole idea of light and dark. So having a new thing that's like the Skywalkers might be. It's also, I don't know. I don't think it'll work very well. I don't think people will like it very well.
When does it come out? Like December?
December. Yeah.
Yeah.
December.
So-
And then everything ends until
Until it starts
2022
again.
when the Game of Thrones people release their
Oh, yeah.
Star Wars movie and ruin everything.
Well, what were some of the other things they announced at D23? Because there's like the Obi-Wan series.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan
Yeah.
series is coming to Disney Plus.
The
which I'm
Mandalorian.
And the Mandalorian.
totally cool with Ewan McGregor coming back.
yeah.
So,
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know what they're gonna do.
Right. Like, I guess
I guess he
do
could make a
anything.
story that's like on Tatooine and him kind of protecting Luke and sort of dealing with like the scum and villainy.
I'm
of
sure there's
Mos Eisley and
some
whatnot.
expanded universe things that they could draw from.
I wouldn't be
Like,
surprised
yeah.
if he has a cameo in Rise of Skywalker.
Oh yeah,
Force
I
Ghost.
thought they were going
uh,
to do a Force Ghost with him in
What is
Last
Hayden
Jedi.
Christensen doing these days? He'll
Nah.
probably be in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
You would think so.
They'll have. I mean,
Tons of Force
If they go
ghosts.
to the epicenter of where Palpatine and Darth Vader, Anakin died, like fuck it, just bring everybody back. Like Force
Qui-Gon,
power is super
everybody.
powerful there. Like Qui-Gon shows up,
Yeah.
Obi-Wan shows up, Yoda's like, "Sup, bitches,
Mace
shoot
Windu.
lightning."
Mace Windu should show up.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Everybody.
Yeah.
The whole team.
Is he missing his hand still?
Maybe. Yeah.
Does it say motherfucker finally?
You
That'd
can
be
get one
awesome.
in a PG-13, which is
Yeah.
what these
There you
movies
go.
aim for.
There you go. There you go. Ghost Rey's fighting Kylo Ren, and Ghost Mace Windu shows up and is just like,
Yeah.
beat his ass, motherfucker.
Yeah,
It's his
exactly.
only line.
Yeah.
That's great.
I'm down. Abrams, JJ, do it, please.
Yeah.
All the Force Ghosts. And then
As
play
long
the
as we're-
Avengers theme underneath. When they all show up.
Well, all right, let's use that to transition
Doctor
to Spider-Man,
Strange.
actually. It's great. Spider-Man's gone.
Well,
I-
for now.
Yes.
For now.
I
Yeah.
think they could still reach a deal.
Well, see, that's what I think it is. I think it's just two companies just waving their massive money dicks around.
Right.
And
one of them linked this story.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think Disney was like, oh, we're going to make Sony look like bad guys, try to get people on our side.
Which I will admit, my immediate assumption was that this was Sony making a very Sony decision in some form or fashion. I assumed arrogance when really it was Disney's greed. From what I'm hearing, anyway. You have a theory, though.
I have a theory.
Okay.
I have a theory. I want to share this with you guys. Again, very much like my Star Wars theory. It might be wrong, but I think this actually has a lot more supporting evidence than me saying that Star Wars is going to become Avatar: The Last Airbender. So I think this is going according to Disney's entire plan. I think they've been planning this since the very beginning of their deal.
Yeah, at some point that they were going to like.
They're gonna
They knew
backstab
that this was
Spider-Man.
going to end at some point.
Right.
So
okay.
here's the thing. So here's how this worked. So long story short, back in '99, Marvel sold Spider-Man to Sony, right, for $7 million. Fucking steal, right?
Yeah.
But Marvel was going bankrupt at the time.
Of course.
Here's the thing. Over the past decade, Sony has been slowly giving stuff back to Disney, and they made a huge mistake. In 2011, they sold back. So they specifically had the film rights to
Yeah.
Spider-Man and
Yeah.
everything associated with that, including television. They later sold back the television rights, and then later sold back all merchandising rights associated with the films. All of it. Think about that.
Damn.
That's stupid.
That's a lot of money, especially in 2011. Like, couldn't you see on the horizon what was
Well,
coming?
2011,
Yeah.
essentially what was going on was they were in between Spider-Man 3 and Amazing Spider-Man. And the way their deal works, this is brilliant on Marvel's part, is that they have to keep making a new Spider-Man
Right,
movie
yeah, to
every...
keep the rights.
I don't know
Is
if
it-
there's a specific year that we know of. It's 3 or 4 years or something like that.
Something
I
like
think you're
that.
right.
Yeah.
There was a bit more time between Spider-Man 3 and Amazing Spider-Man. And the reason why they were able to do that is because they sold back the merchandise rights to give them a little more extra time.
Yeah.
That was the deal.
Gotcha.
So Disney has all the merchandising rights. And if you don't know, if you have a giant franchise, most of your money doesn't actually come from the ticket sales. It comes from the merchandise.
Yep.
So essentially, as Amazing Spider-Man was being made, Sony put all the work and all the budget into these movies.
Yeah.
And Disney would put in a fraction of that money into the merchandise and make way more money than Sony would make off of their movies.
Oh, man.
They were making money off of Sony's work this whole time.
Oh, they're so clever.
Yeah.
So, well, I mean, they're clever, but it was Sony who gave them this.
Yeah.
Sony was just stupid. So then Amazing Spider-Man just isn't great, and they make the deal in 2015. And supposedly, the way this deal was supposed to work is that Sony would put in 95% of the budget and get 95 back. I have written here that Yahoo Finance claims that Sony was actually putting in 100% and getting 100% back from the movies. But Marvel and Disney had creative control, essentially. They controlled directors, they controlled writers, they controlled casting. It's about it. But, I mean, if you control those three things, you control 90% of how the movie will look.
Yeah.
And turns out that's what they needed. Spider-Man movies under Disney. Pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
A lot better than
Yeah.
the Amazing ones.
So good.
Ironically. So here's the thing. The reason why they split is because Disney. So Far From Home made a shit ton of money. It's the most successful film that Sony's ever had, essentially.
Yeah.
And then Disney came to them, was like, all right, let's change our deal. Instead of the 95-5, it's going to be 50-50. We put in 50% of the budget, we get 50% of the profits from the films. Why would Sony ever say yes to that? Because think about it. Spider-Man, they just had the most successful film of all time, a Spider-Man film. What else does Sony have? They have Men in Black, which flopped this year.
Yeah.
They have Jumanji, which is doing all right, but how long is that going to last? They have Bond, which the rights to that are kind of up in the air.
Well, because it's is
Daniel
it
Craig's doing his
MGM that
last
owns
one.
it, but does Sony own MGM?
Yeah,
Is that it? Yeah.
Who knows what's going to happen to
Okay.
the Bond franchise? It's
Okay.
been in limbo for a decade at this point, so they don't know if they're actually going to have it after Bond 25. They have Charlie's Angels, which I don't
Oh yeah,
know.
they're coming out with that. Yeah. So I
But
don't know.
I don't know what's gonna
but
happen with that.
we'll
They have
see.
Ghostbusters, which flopped. They have
Yeah.
Karate Kid, and that's about it. That's like
Wait,
all their franchises.
did they make money off of the Karate Kid thing on YouTube?
Apparently they did
Cobra Kai?
okay.
They have the
Cobra
emoji
Kai.
movie.
Oh yeah.
The thing is, Sony doesn't have a whole lot going for them. Sony Pictures,
Yeah,
specifically,
Sony
doesn't have a
Pictures.
whole lot
Yeah.
going for them.
PlayStation's doing fine.
Their
Yeah,
gaming,
right?
it's actually been well known for about a decade that their gaming division is kind of their only majorly profitable like section of their company. Everything else is kind of struggling.
Really,
including
even
Sony
like their
Pictures.
headphones and stuff, like
Yeah.
because they make bomb ass headphones. Like
They do,
yeah,
they do.
They're
But
awesome.
I mean,
yeah.
in terms of like blockbuster money sort of
Gotcha,
style.
yeah.
So their Sony Pictures just has been struggling for a while. So why would they give up Spider-Man? There's no reason for them to give up Spider-Man. Disney had to have known this. Disney would know that Sony's not gonna, go for a 50-50 deal.
If we
Yeah.
know that,
Who owns
then
yeah.
surely they would too.
So you're saying like Disney owns like the TV rights to Spider-Man, right?
Disney owns
Yeah.
the TV rights and the merchandising rights.
Who owns so what does Disney
also, of
Plus
course, the
fall
comic
under?
book.
That would at least be TV
Oh,
or
that's
streaming.
interesting. I don't know.
Yeah. So like maybe this
Tom
is a long
Holland
play where
in,
Disney's like, okay, I guess we're having a Spider-Man Disney Plus series. Make sure you sign up.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
That's a good point.
D24 next year. It's coming.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe there'll be a Spider-Man on Disney Plus. I don't really know how that's gonna work. Either way, I actually don't think they will do that because I think the plan here is for Sony to run Spider-Man into the ground so that they can get it back. I think that's what the plan is.
Okay.
Because they know that Sony doesn't have the best track record
Yeah.
in making movies, and they did release Venom, which did make money, but
A lot of money, yeah.
we all saw Venom. It's kind of like Transformers money.
Yeah, where it's
like-
like it was fine. Like at
was
least they
fun.
got the Venom and Eddie Brock interactions good.
Do we
were
really
done- were
expect
well-
it to
done
be
well.
like a long-lasting, decent franchise, though? I don't think so, or at least I don't think Disney thinks so.
Morbius, though, Ben. They're making a Morbius movie.
Like, I don't think they
Morbius.
expect
We all
Sony
know
to
who
be able to
that
carry
is.
it for a while.
That's the vampire guy, right? Yeah.
yeah.
You kick it.
So
Yeah.
eventually, Sony's going to run Spider-Man into the ground, and then Disney will be able to pick it back up for cheap.
The more you talk about it, the more like Disney being Thanos, like that GIF makes more and more sense. And then Sony's kind of like what Chris Pratt's character.
Star-Lord.
Star-Lord, yeah, where he's just like a little bit of a fuck up, He's trying hard, but he's the reason everything falls apart anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at the same time, though, like,
And Disney's like, I'm inevitable.
Disney
Yeah.
deserves to throw their weight around a bit. Like,
Yeah.
they made Spider-Man
them
work
good,
on the
yeah.
silver screen a lot better than Sony has over the past couple years.
Yeah.
I mean, you could say, like, well, what about Spider-Man 1 and 2? Well, that was Sam Raimi.
It was also the most recent of those was 2004.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
literally
Sam
15 years.
Raimi and Sony did basically kickstart this whole superhero craze.
Yeah.
But a lot of that was because of Raimi and his style. And he kind of helped bring this crazy, like, bizarre superhero idea to the big screens in a
Like-
way that people would accept.
Yeah.
Made
and
it
then
more
they kind of screwed him over in
realistic,
Spider-Man
yeah.
3 by getting more producer, like Venom wasn't supposed to be in Spider-Man 3, for example. Like, there's a
Yeah.
bunch of stuff about Spider-Man 3 that the studio just got way too involved and kind of messed it all up. And then they, at the end of it, even though Raimi was totally on board with making Spider-Man 4, they just decided no. I don't know why. It's really strange. Feel free to look into that. It's a really strange story of Sony just not understanding Spider-Man.
Sounds like a good time to patch things up and get Tobey Maguire back for Spider-Man 4 coming 2021.
Here's the wild card in all this.
Yeah.
It's Into the Spider-Verse. I don't think Disney was expecting Spider-Verse to be as good as it was.
Yeah.
It also made the least amount of money of any Spider-Man
It did make
film.
the least amount of money. And the way
But it's the best
Spider-Verse
one.
is going
It's
to
really
make money is through merchandise. And I think it's weird. I don't really know how this is going to work. But Spider-Verse could end up just making more money for Disney than for Sony because of merchandising. I mean, all these Spider-Man movies are going to make more money for Disney than they will Sony, which is why they don't need to have it. There's no reason for Disney to buy Spider-Man. There's no reason for them to try to buy Sony Entertainment or Sony Pictures, which they probably couldn't anyway because there was a whole lot of legal shit that they had to go through for Fox. I don't think the government will let them do it again. Although even if they did, we mentioned before the stream started, like if they did buy Sony Pictures, they wouldn't really be getting much.
Right.
Like I
Yeah.
said,
Yeah.
Ghostbusters, Jumanji, Spider-Man.
And at this point, there's like you have a ticking clock to make another film in like what 3 years.
So Sony has to keep making these movies,
and it's just going to bleed them because they're probably not going to make any money back from
They're
it. So
going
they're just
to-
going to kick back and wait.
right?
Yeah.
Like Spider-Man is gonna be oversaturated. Like Disney's gonna be making way more money off of them than Sony will. It's kind of brilliant.
And if Sony knows this and they're thinking about that, then I think that's why they asked for 50-50. It's a huge ask so that when they come back with a counteroffer, it's still substantial, way more than 5%.
Yeah, like Sony's just kind of screwed.
Yeah.
in this situation. Like it makes sense for them to pull out of it because 50-50.
That's a lot.
Like, why would they do that?
And who's taking the big like social capital hit? Like who's going to look like the bad guy in all this?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Disney structured it so that Sony looked like the bad guy. You were just saying, like, the knee-jerk reaction was Disney didn't pull out of the deal. Sony did.
Yeah.
So everybody blames Sony. Again, it's not necessarily that Sony is the victim here. They obviously put themselves in a situation where they just they can't seem to figure out Spider-Man in a way that people approve of, and they did some stupid things to put themselves in the situation where Disney has a lot of power over them.
It's like playing a board game with your friends, or you just played into your opponent's strategy.
Yeah, essentially, Disney just outplayed them so hard.
Took advantage of a mistake.
Right. Yeah.
Like, so that's kind of where it's at right now. And again, I don't actually know if this was Disney's plan the whole time. That's just me speculating based on what we've seen. But it just doesn't make sense to me that they would ask for a 50-50 deal. There's no way Sony was ever going to... It doesn't make sense to me that they would ask for a 50-50 deal and expect Sony to say yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't
mean,
think it's possible that they would ever expect Sony to
that's
say
just
yes
like
to that.
normal negotiation tactics, where it's like you ask for more than you actually want, and then see what their counter is. So
Right.
it's closer to what you
That's where
actually
you
want.
start.
You want. Yeah.
50-50, apparently they've been going at this for months. And 50-50 is where they ended. So
Yeah, it'd be, I want to know where it started. It's like, you know that 95-5 deal? Let's flip it. Yeah. And Sony's like, what? And back and forth, it's just like 90-10, 85-15.
You know, I wonder though, because there's got to be this like emergency exit of a third option, or however many options we're on right now. Sell the Spider-Man movie rights back to Disney. Like what?
that's essentially what Disney's waiting for.
Yeah. So,
Yes.
but like, what number would Sony try to get? What number would
That would
Disney
be
actually
interesting.
accept?
That'd be
I
really
Like if
wonder.
Sony was like, here's like all like everything we've ever spent on Spider-Man, pay us this and you can have it back.
And then even if they were to sell it, that's not like a well. You've basically forfeited a well to get money out of. You now have like a buffet of money to take from. But when that's gone, that's gone. So they would need to put that money back into something else in order to make something sustainable for Sony's future.
I also want to mention it makes sense now given the plot that Spider-Man is in, like the story,
Yeah.
the Avengers and whatnot.
Cliffhanger.
They ended it was literally considered the last film of Phase 3. Basically, Spider-Man kind of helped start and end Phase 3, and he ended the Spider-Man Iron Man arc, right? But then they set it up with a cliffhanger that's completely separate from the Iron Man story, but it's a new thing, and now it just won't happen in the MCU. Now they might take it to Sony, to the Spider-Verse, not the Spider-Verse, what are they going to call it? The Spider Cinematic Universe.
The Venomverse.
Yeah, sure.
They
but
would be
like,
able to do that then.
we've already established that Sony has trouble with Spider-Man movies without Raimi, and now Disney's basically just left them in one of the most complicated story situations
luck.
Yeah.
ever for Spider-Man.
Although they
And
should
then like
do
all the
Spider-Verse.
licensing and stuff that would have to go with it if they want to use any MCU character.
right.
Yeah.
They've set up these Spider-Man films to be just weird.
See, I feel like Disney is just going to make a Spider-Man movie and not release it in theaters and just release it on streaming and be like, what? We didn't make a movie. We made
Right.
we made a
made a
long form streaming
We made a
episode.
2.5 hour
Yeah.
long episode.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Of
I-
a one episode season.
Yeah.
If
Oh,
it-
Tom Holland's in it. That that's
weird.
cool. Yeah.
If this really is the plan, if this really is all according to Disney's plan, it wouldn't make a lot of sense for them to like try to like build up the Spider-Man brand as a movie and TV show, because then that would just make it more positive. Unless they're trying to specifically overwhelm people and they make an intentionally bad Spider-Man TV show.
Yeah. I mean, they canceled like comic book runs to try to make characters less popular that they didn't own the rights to.
Yeah,
They've done stuff like that.
That was kind of famous with Fox.
Yeah.
They didn't focus on X-Men as much because Fox owned the X-Men movie
Yeah.
rights and I believe the merchandising rights.
Silver lining, one of the complaints that I see from some people who don't like certain aspects of Spider-Man in the MCU is that they see him as Iron Man Jr. They think he's too technologically advanced for what that character ought to be. I can kind of understand that. If that's you, Spider-Man going back to Sony kind of shrinks his world a bit more and focuses it in on more of the neighborhood. Like maybe at most, at this point, he can cross over with Venom and Morbius and, people who are already Spider-Man villains anyway. Like silver lining, at least maybe if nothing changes, Spider-Man can kind of, in a sense, go back to his roots.
Or it's possible Sony could actually make this work for them. Like, there's no guarantee that, again, if this is Disney's plan, that Sony is just going to tank and destroy what they have. Sure.
Is Tom Holland under like exclusive contract? He can't be Spider-Man.
He has said that he will
else?
continue playing Spider-Man. So
Okay.
they'll keep using him.
I think it's
yeah.
2 more movies, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so too. Yeah.
I think that's what I heard.
I wouldn't be. I would be very surprised if they changed any of the Spider-Man cast that they have.
Yeah.
They can't bring. I don't think they can bring back Favreau's character, Happy, because that's technically an Iron Man character.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they wouldn't be able to bring him back. So they got to just drop him off the face of the world. But outside of that, I think every major character that's been in a Spider-Man movie.
Wait, can we talk
Except
about
for the dead ones.
Can we talk about
They
the
can
Far
use.
From Home spoilers?
Well,
has it been long enough? Because like
I think
I
it
see
has
something
because all I wanted to say.
Let's save that for sudden death.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I
Let's
just
do
had,
that
I just had
sometime.
one small comment. That's all. No grand discussion. But
Well, let's go ahead and wrap it up on that.
Okay.
Oh, do you have?
well, it
or is
ties into
Okay.
spoiler.
We'll save that for sudden death.
Post credit scene.
But I mean, it's not a spoiler that. I mean, I guess we already mentioned that they set it up with a cliffhanger, but it is a very complicated cliffhanger that
Yeah.
Sony's never had to really deal with Spider-Man. So who knows what they'll do? Anyway, that kind of wraps that up for me, at least. I don't know. Do you guys have anything else you want to say for Spider-Man?
I'm in
Nah.
the camp. I would love if Sony did a live action Into the Spider-Verse and brought back Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield to be parallel Spider-Man.
That'd be kind of cool, but the other part of me is just like, we already have a really, really good Spider-Verse. Why are
That's
we doing
true.
the live-action remake already? Why are we following Disney's footsteps? But on, like, triple speed.
Yeah.
Crazy
Even faster.
idea. What if they combined Spider-Verse?
I've always thought about that too. Live
Yeah.
action
Like,
and
yeah.
animation
Some of them
would
are
be
animated,
pretty
some of
cool.
them are live Interesting. action.
Well, no, they go into the animated world.
Yeah.
And
That's
they meet Miles Morales.
Sure. Why not?
already
Let's
made
get
it like-
weird with
yeah.
it.
And then
it's
Miles goes
fine.
into their world, and suddenly it's live action. They cast somebody
Yeah.
as live action Miles.
Well, actually, there was, like, early
They, no,
really
they
weird.
shouldn't do that.
early in Spider-Verse's development, I think it was thrown out, an idea was thrown out to have the mentor Peter Parker character actually be Tobey Maguire.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that would have been
Yeah.
interesting. At the end, he drops through and then it's live action.
Yeah.
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 But,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm still. I know that there's supposedly a new Spider-Verse movie coming out with like Gwen or something like that.
Which, if it's anywhere near as good as the first one, sign me up.
I just hope that this doesn't. That Spider-Verse is the one thing that I'm like really worried that this is going to affect. Because if the Spider-Verse movies don't make enough money in the theater and they end up just making billions of dollars for Disney through
Right.
merchandise,
Yeah.
then why would Sony keep it?
Yeah.
That's frankly, I think they'll be fine with the Spider-Man movies for a while, like the Tom Holland ones. It's probably I don't have the confidence to say that it's going to be as good as what Disney could make because Sony has proven that 3 times out of 5 it's just going to fall apart. But they'll probably still make decent Spider-Man movies. But if the Spider-Verse ones, which has a really good creative team behind it, can't make money, it might end up ruining that franchise in Sony's eyes. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. It's a messed up situation, but at the end of the day, the whole goal for this, from Disney's perspective, is obviously to get Spider-Man back to them. And so maybe it'll take 10 years, maybe it'll take 30 years. Eventually, Spider-Man will come back to the MCU. Who knows?
And Disney's like, we have time.
yeah,
they
Disney
pick up
will.
All the time and all the money.
They pick up from the cliffhanger, like, decades
Later.
Yeah.
Tom Holland's like
Just
35 now.
Pick up from,
Yeah.
like, that exact shot.
He's been in hiding this whole time. Shit, we can't talk about spoilers.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. Save it for yeah.
Yeah. All right. We'll talk about the 30 years later Spider-Man sequel in Sudden Death.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go ahead and talk about the community death battle. But before we do that, let me tell you about our next sponsor, Mint Mobile. If you're still using one of the big wireless providers in 2019, have you asked yourself what you're paying for? Enter Mint Mobile. So they sent us this box full of goodies, even a neat little hat. But how does that look? Look okay? Yeah, sure. What is this? A scarf? Oh, they're socks. But they're not like a mystery box company. That's not really what they are. What they actually are is this. They are a mobile service provider. So this is neat. Thank you, Mint Mobile. But this is the main thing. This is the thing that's really important for them. Mint Mobile provides the same premium network coverage you're used to, but at a fraction of the cost because everything is online. Which makes it very easy. Very easy to get into, easy to do everything with. So Mint Mobile saves on retail locations and overhead, then passes those savings directly to you. That's interesting. Mint Mobile makes it easy to cut your wireless bill down to just $15 a month. Every plan comes with unlimited nationwide talk and text. You can stop paying for unlimited data that you'll never use. You can choose between plans with 3, 8, or 12 gigabytes or 4G LTE data. So lots of options to choose from. And you can use your own phone that you already have with any Mint Mobile plan and keep the same phone number along with all your existing contacts. No resetting, no new purchases outside of the Mint Mobile itself. Very handy. So, to get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/cast. That's mintmobile.com/cast. Cut your wireless bill down to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/cast. And the best part, they got this cute little fox logo. That's my favorite part. Yeah. All right, let's get to the community death battle. Okay, we should probably be quick because we're kind of running short on time.
That was a long time.
Yeah.
But if you haven't watched Death Battle Cast in a while, we are kind of combining community death battle with DBX. We've got DBX running for the next 3 weeks, according to my sheet here. Hopefully that's correct. So this upcoming DBX is Blake Belladonna versus Inuyasha. So we've got some answers from you guys. Of course, you can vote for the DBX right now. It's a very close vote. Over the weekend, I believe it was like basically 50-50. So go vote on that. That's on our Twitter at Death Battle. But if you haven't voted yet and you're not sure who to pick, we got some answers from the community to help persuade you. So for Blake, we have an answer from, is this right? His name is literally Jessica. It's just Jessica with a scream at the end.
Well, imagine how Kagome says Inuyasha, but like
Jessica says, "Oh fuck yes." Oh wait. Oh. Yes, it does. Yeah. My girl Blake's gotta come out on top of this one. As much as I love Inuyasha, his sword is massive and his swings are slow and pronounced compared to Gamble Shroud. Blake's got speed on her side, and if she's in a crunch, her semblance can take a wind scar for her. So yeah, Blake has a lot of special abilities that are very tactical. Yeah, and can kind of
also she doesn't really announce her attacks the way Inuyasha does. Yeah,
that's true. That's true. It's
like
true.
Every time he uses the wind scar. Every time he uses the adamantine barrage. That's one of them, right? Mm-hmm. It's like if he shoots out diamond shards and he has to say the move like every shonen. You know?
I saw one episode of Inuyasha.
Unfortunately, Sam is gone
old.
playing WoW Classic with Chad. Yeah, he would probably be able to tell because he runs DBX. Yeah, but. We don't know. I don't know. But we do have an answer for Inuyasha, which might answer your question, from Charles E. Winnick. Very noble-sounding name. Yeah. Mr. Winnick says that he's going...
Lord Winnick
says that he's going for Inuyasha. Blake's only advantage would be stealth, but it's not enough since Inuyasha punched a giant eel demon, dodged lightning multiple times, and his sword can summon a portal to hell.
Sounds about right.
What is that word?
Cautiously.
I feel like it's curiosity killed the cat, but it's like a upon on that?
Caution?
Caution.
But like caution.
Cadiostally killed Blake. Sorry, Lord
Blake.
Winnick.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely
Lord
sure.
Winnick, you made a word that doesn't exist.
I mean,
now.
he's a lord.
Yeah.
It exists now. Like-
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah.
Sure.
Add
right,
it to
well,
the lexicon. Yeah.
Let us know who you think should win and why using hashtag DBX, and you can vote at the Twitter. That's how you say that, right?
At the Twitter.
At Death Battle on Twitter. The poll is there. You can let us know who should win by voting. And Blake versus Inuyasha will be on Rooster Teeth and YouTube this weekend. We're getting close to the end of DBX. I believe this is the third to last one, which means that the next episode will be announced. The penultimate episode will be announced at the end of Blake versus Inuyasha. I'll have to tune in to that. It's going to be great. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Death Metal Cast. Thank you, Kyle and Josh, for filling in for these lazy
Bums.
Yeah.
playing
They took
WoW.
vacation
Of
to
course.
play WoW.
Man, I wish I was playing World of Warcraft all week. Jeez.
I mean, you're just going to be waiting in a queue.
Yeah,
You're
it's
just gonna be
baking
like,
in
okay.
the
that's
wait
fair.
times.
It'll
Yeah.
be one of the thousands, millions waiting.
Chad and Sam will not be back next week. One of them might be back next week. I don't know. We'll figure it out. They might be dead. Who knows?
Speaking of Disney and all that stuff, I'm going to be giving them money in Disney World because that's where I'm going to be next week. So I will also be
It's
gone.
also gone.
Well, you can go put up signs saying "Bring back Spider-Man."
Yeah,
everywhere.
I'll bring some.
Go build one of those
Little
like
memorials.
flippy lightsabers that they just,
There we go.
showed off. Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to go see Spider-Man at Islands of Adventure because that's where he is in Orlando.
Yeah.
okay.
So
Oh yeah, Universal still has
yeah,
the theme park
yeah.
rights.
Man,
to all
Spider-Man
the
rights are
Marvel
all
characters.
kinds of weird.
Well, they have all the Marvel characters.
Yeah.
Because like one of the best roller coasters at Universal is the
Well,
Hulk.
they're bringing they're bringing some Marvel characters to Disney parks in the future that they announced. But anyway,
Avengers
All I'm
Camp.
hearing are Spider-Man rights are like the Infinity Stones, and Disney's just like collecting each
All the
one.
different
It's just like
Spider-Man.
merch,
Basically-
yeah.
Thanos went bankrupt and had to sell off all the Infinity Stones. And then
One
later
stone
on,
at
he's
a
like,
time.
"Oh
He's
shit, I
collecting
need to
them back.
get
I need
all
to get
those back."
Yeah.
now that he's the Mad Titan,
Yeah.
That's phase 5.
All right, thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you next week.
Later.
See ya.